People, Deluded, I'm back again. Now, good morning on this Thursday morning. It's another day, another slow day in regards to transfer news. So we might as well go and have some conversations in regards to Arsenal's transfer news and who we've been linked with and things like that, as unrealistic as some of it might be. Before we crack on with that, in fact, no, man, I'll do that in a separate vid. So let's just crack on. That was about Torreira. You've seen us linked with Dani Ceballos now, as well as Spurs. Now, apparently, if you just based on reports, it appears Madrid are flip-flopping. Not a regular within their side. Look to be someone along with a host of other names that could be moved on. He's clearly got potential to be a good player in the future if he's given a chance. But maybe the Under-21 Championship reminded Real Madrid of his talent or his potential to be a very decent player in the future. So they want to loan him out, which would be good for all parties. Obviously, it'd be great for Arsenal because whether the budget is 45 million or just over that, realistically, we're not going to have the budget to sign players in all areas in an ideal world, are we, people? So to get him on loan, of course, I'm not really a fan of developing players for the other team and things, and I would ideally like a permanent option or buy option within that contract. But to get Ceballos for a year, if he hits the ground running under a Spanish manager, at a team where, fair enough, he's not playing in the champs and has a chance of winning champs like he's done, but he's going to get consistent football. It would be a good thing for him playing in the Prem and probably pushing up away from the 21s, moving into Spain's first team. Obviously, by the same logic, Tottenham as well. Be playing under Poch. These lot made the Champions League final this year. They've got a great bit of things going. You've seen them linked with Max Clark of Leeds, someone that can grow and be a decent player. And Ndombele can be a superstar if he develops and works hard. Hopefully not now that he plays for Spurs, but do you get it, people? So there's exciting things at both, well, no, not really exciting at my team, but there's things going on at both clubs in it that could entice him. I don't think he'll go to either. Purely because I think both got minds elsewhere. I think both would take him, but it looks like Spurs are trying to get the Ndombele deal done. And you're seeing Thiago Mendes linked with Lyon. It'll be interesting to see if that is true, when that is completed, what happens with Ndombele. Because could they be possibly waiting on that deal to be done before, like Lyon bringing in a replacement before they officially let him go, even though they're not like-for-like players as such. We'll see. I would take him, of course, people, but it is what it is. I think I would just like to see us sign a centre-half and a left-back first. Staying on the task with the centre-halves, people, I've never seen this guy in my life, so I'm not going to pretend, but the mails linked us with Basel's, Switzerland's under-21 defender, Ere Comret. Forgive me for misbutchering his name, man. Apparently, there's planned talks with his agent in Switzerland. He's keen on a move to London, and he could be priced away for as little as 7 million. Now, you look at Akanji, you look at was Akanji there? I'm sure Akanji was at Basel. There's a couple players at Basel you can go and grab for decent fees and stuff like that, people. In a couple of positions. They've got that Noah guy on the flanks. Basel have a decent academy. Again, I've never watched this guy play, but he's 21, so he ties in with the youthful aspect. Again, we've got good relations with Basel. With obviously El Nene and stuff like that, so it's easy to present these issues. I don't know if Arsenal have legit interest or actually want him, so I do think on one hand there could be legit interest. He could be a target named, he could be someone we've scouted with potential under the model, but by the same target, this could also be just media waffle, and by the same logic as well, it could just be a case of maybe he does want to move to the Premier League, but Arsenal are not necessarily interested. It could be, I don't know, a Palace, a Wolves, all these sort of clubs. If you say Arsenal or any top six side is interested in a man, it drums up their prices, people. How much players have we seen this summer already, people? And in general, it's not just Arsenal. If you say City want a man or this guy wants a man, you see how mad it can get, people. So I'm not too sure in regards to the planning of that. We need a centre-half, so by being a centre-half, I'm all for it, but I don't think it's going to happen just based on the Saliba talk, based on the Tierney talk. It appears we've got priorities elsewhere, and if we are to sign another centre-half, I do think, and again, don't get hung up on the word experience. I mean experience in terms of career league appearances and possibly age. I think surely we go for more experience, that sort of stopgap signing at centre-half, to which, as decent as he might be, I've never seen this young player play. He's 21 years of age, playing in Basel, playing in Switzerland, with all due respect, is not the most competitive of leagues. I have no clue how many career appearances he's got under his belt, so I'm just going to assume because he's a 21-year-old and he's an Switzerland under-21 international, is that he's still making progress in his career, but he's not the way there yet. So would it make much sense to spend 30 million on Saliba, who's 18, 19 years of age, loan him out for this very reason of being inexperienced and whatnot, and then you bring in my man, which together with if Bielik's here, Mavropanos here, people that need to get games and people who are still naive, even Holding's still quite a naive defender. He's just about touched 100 career appearances collectively for Bolton and Arsenal. So would it make sense, people? I'm not too sure. We'll have to see. Staying on task with defenders now. We've been linked with Zagadou, as you guys know, and the links will keep persisting, people. Especially now, you're seeing the latest report is Zagadou is pressing to leave after Hummels is signed for the club. Now, he's someone I see potentially they should loan him out somewhere. He can get some football. He's someone that can go somewhere in Germany or France or even England and get some games. I must admit, I think he's a good defender with potential to be a baller, people. Still think he's a bit raw and a bit error-prone. Again, I wasn't watching Dortmund religiously, but last season I wouldn't have him down as the first-choice centre-half or either one of the pairing, because Diallo and Akanji, for whenever I was looking at them, and Sancho and all of them young G's, he's not a defender, but obviously I'm watching it for them reasons. It didn't appear that he was in the starting lineup. Now, you'd assume Hummels is someone, prodigal son. Obviously, he didn't come from their academy, but he's a son returning home. You'd like to think he's going to feature as a regular. So that's 3 centre-halves playing ahead of him. At 19, 20, 21, however old he is, he needs to go and get football. And this was a reason as to him leaving his homeland to go to Dortmund. He's played football, but I still think he's a bit raw. He had a good youth tournament in the summer, so he's put himself back in the shop window. We'll have to see, man, really and truly in regards to that. Maybe they sell him, maybe they don't. Julian Weigl links have reappeared. Apparently in January we wanted him, us and PSG. Apparently he's allowed to leave this summer for 30 million, and that should be enough to persuade Dortmund to sell. I think he's a decent player. He's probably fallen off. He hasn't hit the heights many thought. If you remember when Weigl first burst on the scene, he should have been a main player for Germany at last year's World Cup. It hasn't happened. We have other priorities, so I wouldn't prioritise that area per se as much as I want a centre mid. I want to fix up the defence. But he's someone I wouldn't mind, man. If you can get him back to his potential, back playing to a decent level, then why not? There's nothing wrong with him, in my opinion, and he can do what some of these midfielders at the club don't do. He wouldn't be my first choice signing, but if I was presented the proposition of buying him potentially, I'd sit down and listen, people. What else? Neil Lennon, apparently we're expected, well, we'll get on to Neil Lennon, but the Daily Record has said Arsenal are expected to go in with an offer of 19 million for Tierney tomorrow, which is today. Now, 1 minute we're bidding 1 bid, we ain't bid, we bid 2 bids, we bid 3 bids, we're doing this, we're doing that. Who knows, people? But it's a game of chess. We have to see how it develops. I mean, apparently we're going back in with a bid. They want 25 million. We're clearly lowballing. Clearly, for me, it appears an issue more of the structure of the payment, really and truly, again, without being a transfer man, because if they want 19 million, if they want 25, don't you just hand them 19 million pounds now and do the odd 6 million or so in add-ons and performance-based figures? Or maybe we just don't want to pay 25. For me, it's a no-brainer, and if we mess this up, it speaks volumes of our negotiating team. Tierney's got 1 foot out the door, if not us elsewhere. The fee is not the biggest of fees. He clearly wants to move on and develop, so why not, man? Really and truly, out of the Scottish Premier League, so why not? Neil Lennon's been playing quite coy as well. He said every player has a price, but until that is matched, there's nothing more to say, which what can you expect him to say, really and truly? He's also said in regards to a potential departure, I've had a chat with him, as it can be a difficult decision and a bit unsettling. I've been there myself, so it's important that we support him regardless of the outcome. So that's clearly a man that wants to keep his player, but he understands the dynamic and how things work. The club want to make the money on these players. There's the law of the Premier League. It is what it is, isn't it? He wants to keep him, but if he does want to leave, we need to get the right fee so I can reinvest appropriately. And what more can you expect from Neil Lennon? And one thing that really kind of signals where we are in negotiations, for me, for a manager to say this publicly, because he is being advised and stuff, and it is a game of pokers, he said, in regards to our bid, it's going to have to take a lot more than what Arsenal have offered the first time around to give us a decision to make. So clearly, we might have lowballed, or they just don't feel the first offer is good enough. So negotiations will still persist, and that shows you where we're at. It's probably going to be a long and dragged out one. In an ideal world, I'd love to see that Tierney and Saliba is not loaned back to his club, but they're both back in time. And again, I'm not sure if they're injured and things like that, which Tierney couldn't because he's in pre-season with Celtic. but hopefully they're both there in time to fly to America with Una Emery so that they can be involved in the bulk of the tactics and all the technical aspects of the game. They can gel with the squad and all of these sort of things, people. So I think that's it in regards to transfer. Oh no, we're not done. Finally, for real, people, we've been linked with, and I think Liten Sport were the first people that claimed we were legitimately interested in Saliba, so we'll give them a bit of credit. But apparently we're interested in Monaco forward Keita Balde. We've been interested in him for how long now, man? He's a decent player. I think he can develop. Wouldn't be my first choice target, but he's quite positive. Not too sure of his goal scoring record. I'm sure either this season or the season before he had a decent record, or maybe even the season before that. But past that, not been the most prolific. He was all right at Lazio, if I can remember correctly. Done his thing. Did he go in or on loan? He went somewhere on loan last year or the year before. And he's done all right at Monaco. I wouldn't mind him, people, but it all depends on the fee. On that note, I'm going to keep it moving. So, people, Deluded, I'm out. Thank you for watching and rocking as usual.